There are many games, and in most games, the most dedicated of players try beating the game in the shortest time. This is called speedrunning.
Minecraft is arguably the most popular game ever, having great graphics, a fair combat system, and no toxic players. It also is the most popular to speedrun, having hundreds of different categories. Since you could talk for hours about the different categories, we will be just talking about beating Minecraft's notorious boss, the End Dragon, in 1.16. So when this category came out, the first person to get a record was The Sizzler with a 1942. Then another player called Odiz, no pun intended, got an 1859. This is a whole 43 seconds faster. A month later, the opposite happened. A speedrunner called Corbanos got a 1456. However, Dream, who was quite big in the community, said it was a fake because time discrepancy. However, it turns out he was not cheating and it was just an issue to do with Google. Anyway, now that we're talking about Dream did 6 speedruns with good rates. Good rates are stuff such as good ender pearl drops from piglins or good blaze drops from blazes. Over the course of all these 6 speedruns, the chance of getting that is 1 in a trillion, which is why they eventually found out that he was using a texture pack to make the odds higher. Anyway, after this, we then had a busy February, where the record was broken 10 times by many famous speedrunners such as Rainix, Corbanos, Corryway, and The Sizzler. You see, there's now been a new strat called a Bastion strat, where you go into a Bastion and you use piglins to trade ender pearls. Anyway, after this crazy February, there was someone called Brentilda. You see, Brentilda in March got a 936. This was an amazing record at the time, beating the old record by over 5 minutes. However, he used a lot of time abuse, which is where you pause the game a lot, and he paused the game for over 5 minutes. They held this record for 279 days, until then Cube got a 908. Anyway, that's it for Minecraft. Now let's move on to Alfie.
Moving on to an interesting one, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. When this game came out in 2017, it took the world by storm. You literally couldn't go onto YouTube without seeing a Getting Over It video. Yeah, this is 100% 2017 YouTube, just trust me. If you've never heard of this game, it is basically a game where you are a guy in a pot with a hammer climbing up a mountain with a white backdrop and incredibly annoying physics, and it is very, very, very frustrating. The speedrun here, achieved by Blast Bolt, is just over a minute and 1. Now, this guy makes it look easy because trust me, this game is not an easy game at all. If you're playing it normally, it will probably take you about 10 or so hours to beat, as the game requires precise use of your mouse to move the guy in the pot, who his official name is Tony.
While Minecraft is the most known, Mario 64 easily has to have the best speedrunners. This is because of countless glitches the speedrunners use. One of the most famous glitches is the long jump teleport. This happens when you jump, aim your velocity backwards, clip from the wall, and it yeets you away, and sometimes through walls. However, this is the frame perfect trick that requires perfect accuracy. This means it's only done by tasks, which is basically robots playing the game. So first of all, let's look at the time difference between the top times. So the highest time anyone has got for Mario 64 is a 6:27. However, the fastest anyone has ever beaten Mario 64 with tasks is 4:15. This is almost half the time a normal speedrun. Another difference is what they do at the start. While the usual run goes into the castle, the task instead decides to teleport into an underground grate. The reason why the person doesn't do this is because it's almost impossible for a normal human being to do.
Next one up, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time has been speedrun since the game came out in 1998. Perhaps it was because of the disturbing look of the characters, especially Link, Or the equally disturbing look at the actual ocarina, which the game is named of. It's still really short, but about 30 seconds of the entire speedrun is just the opening cutscene. Now this doesn't sound like a lot, but in speedrunning sense this is a lot of time. Even a second is a lot in speedrunning. The speedrun currently playing, achieved by Murphy, is an incredibly impressive speedrun, clocking in at just under 4 minutes. It requires an intense amount of skill and knowledge of the game, and has a lot of glitches. A glitchless run of this game would probably take about 40 minutes, but they cut it down to 3 with the amount of glitches they used in this run. I was originally going to show you a different speedrun, but seeing as this world record was actually set about 3 weeks ago, it is technically the current world record, and I thought it's right to show. Moving on to William now, hopefully.